It's the Nae Nae Show. Hey!
Hey kids, it's Nae Nae here, and welcome to my Halloween Spooktacular special with special guest Peter Sullivan, also known as Uncle Pete. Peter is an actor, singer, and author. And today we're going to sing a spooky song for you. And then we've got some spooky stories to tell you. And then we've got something else for you, which is a surprise. And now, Uncle Pete is going to help me sing a song called The Monster Mash. Take it away, Uncle Pete.
Hey kids, happy Halloween. It's Uncle Pete here. We're gonna do the Monster Mash. But first, let me get into costume. I was working in the lab late one night when my eyes beheld an eerie sight. For my monster from his slab began to rise, and suddenly, to my surprise,
He did the mash.
he did the Monster Mash.
The Monster Mash.
It was a graveyard smash.
He did the mash.
It caught on in a flash.
The Monster Mash.
He did the Monster Mash from my laboratory in the castle east to the master bedroom where the vampires feast. The ghouls all came from their humble abodes to get a jolt from my electrodes.
They did the mash.
They did the Monster Mash.
The Monster Mash.
It was a graveyard smash.
They did the mash.
It caught on in a flash.
The Monster Mash.
They did the Monster Mash. The zombies were having fun. The party had just begun. The guests included Wolfman, Dracula, and his son. The scene was rocking, all were digging the sounds. Igor on chains backed by his baying hounds. The coffin bangers were about to arrive with their vocal group, the Crypt Kicker 5.
They played the mash.
They played the Monster Mash.
They did the mash.
It was a graveyard smash.
The Monster Mash.
It caught on in a flash.
The Monster Mash.
They played the Monster Mash. And now, kids, I've got a spooky story for you. Jenna and Jason were brother and sister and lived together with their parents in a cabin in the woods. They really loved their life in the woods with their parents. After school and on weekends, they would play outside in the forest. They would go swimming in the nearby lake during the summer and play in the snow during winter. They felt safe and would always go off into the woods by themselves. But one Halloween, they went out into the woods and they heard a scream. They didn't know where it was coming from. It sounded like a monster. Jenna went to the edge of the lake and looked into the water to see if it was coming from there. No sign of any monster in the lake. Jason climbed up into the treehouse their father built them. No monster in the treehouse. They went back toward their house so that they could get into their Halloween costumes and their parents could drive them into town to go trick-or-treating. But on the way back, they heard another scream that sounded like a monster. Then another scream, then another scream. The screams were getting louder. The monster was getting closer. They started to run, but Jenna fell down and Jason turned around to help her. After he helped her up and they turned around, they saw a big red furry creature. Jenna said, "Don't hurt us, please." And the monster said, "I don't want to hurt you. I'm a friend of your parents. I'm a friendly monster." And then Jenna and Jason's mom and dad came over and introduced them to their friend Bob, who was wearing a furry red costume. And then they all went trick-or-treating together. The end.
And now I'm going to tell you a spooky story that my mom told me. It's been passed down in my family for about 150 years. Here it goes. and I'm going to read it to you in just the way that my mom told it to me. My great-great-great-grandpa was sent to the mill to get cornmeal, and he took off on a horse, and it was a pretty good ways for him to go back then. And it took all day, and he got to it and got the cornmeal. And then he headed home, and a storm blew up, and everything got real bad and dark. So he decided to rest and go into an abandoned church. He sat down on a pew and went to sleep. And a few minutes later, he felt a tickle on his nose. And he just swooshed it away and went back to sleep. And then he felt it again. And he thought, well, it's a spider. And he moved down a little bit and went back to sleep. And then he felt it again. And he said, that's no spider. I don't know what that is. Then he heard a noise in the attic, and that really scared him. So he jumped up and got out of there and jumped on his horse and made it home by daylight. And he was telling his family about it, and he said, Daddy, there's something in that church. We've got to go back. We've got to go back. There's somebody in that church. So they went back to the church and went in there and looked up. And there was a hole in the ceiling, and staring back at them was a woman with long hair. They found out later that she was deaf and couldn't speak, and she had dropped her hair down through the crack in the ceiling and tickled his nose with it, trying to wake him up and get him to rescue her. And they did. They rescued her. She had been put there by her mean husband, and she was trapped up there. And my great-great-great-grandfather and his father saved her life. The end.
And now I'm going to try on 3 different Halloween costumes for you, and I want you to help me decide which one I should wear for trick-or-treating. The first one is a witch. I'm a witch. See? And now I'm a pirate. Arrgh. Look, I'm a charcuterie board. And that's all. Which one do you think I should be? Let me know in the comments. And now we have come to the end of our Halloween Spooktacular special. Thank you so much for joining us. And thank you to our special guest, Peter Sullivan, aka Uncle Pete. See you next time. And remember, kids, you are kind, you are smart, you are important. Thanks for watching. Have a great day. Bye.